NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Hercules Tire.
An hour of NASCAR touring, regional and local racing from around the country. Now your host for NASCAR Coast to Coast, a guy who is very dangerous on a go-kart track, and a guy who's very dangerous around hotel fountains. Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long.
A third-generation driver captures his first NASCAR title, while one driver makes history by winning 3 in a row, and an underdog upsets the field at the biggest late model event of the year. Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast for Wednesday, November 19th, 2016. October 19th, 2016. A month ahead of myself.
Kyle Did you say November?
I did. Kyle Rickey, Buddy Long.
Then my birthday was yesterday.
Happy belated birthday.
Right, thank you.
Hard to believe, though. Thank you. That we're wrapping up our 4th season of this show today.
Yeah.
Seems like just like yesterday, we opened up with, at first, the first phase of this show, I guess you could call it Modified Madness. And then we have incorporated all of the NASCAR divisions to make it a NASCAR short track show.
And do you remember back when we were doing that show when we said there's no way that we can fit all of this modified crap into 1 hour? We didn't say crap. But no, back then it wasn't a NASCAR show, so we were covering the Mahoning Valleys, the Wall Stadium Speedways.
ROC Tour.
Yeah, we were covering everything, and we're saying, how in the world are we going to be able to get all this in? And then we change our format, and we pick up all the touring series. Well, we were doing the 2 touring series of modified racing, but then Mexico, which has a great big announcement this week, as well as the Euro Series, Pinty Series, and all the All-American short tracks, which are right around 60. So
K&N
how did we
series.
go from not thinking we could get all the modified stuff in to expanding in that same time frame and getting all that done in?
But I think we've done a good job in doing it.
We were very disciplined.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of racetracks that we thank you very much. I do appreciate that. There are a lot of tracks we possibly haven't caught all the time, but we try to get everybody in as best we can as far as the short track results. But we've had so many wonderful guests during the course of the year. And there's some of them, and we've said it, we don't want to let them go. You know, we could keep them on for an hour. And I think today's guest, at least 2 of the 3 that have been on before, going to be some good entertainment this afternoon.
Absolutely. One of those will be Bill McAnally, the championship-winning car owner in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West. Todd Gilliland won the championship, but he apparently is traveling right now in the air, flying from the West Coast to the East Coast on his way back home. So we will talk to the championship-winning car owner, Bill McAnally, who had a very good season. Not only did he have the championship-winning driver in Todd Gilliland, the team's 2nd consecutive championship, obviously with Chris Eggleston a year ago, but all 4 of his drivers finished in the top 7 in points.
Yeah, Julia Landauer really came on like gangbusters at the tail end of the season. I'm sure Bill was hoping. She was so much on the verge, it looked like, of getting that first K&N Pro Series West victory. So many good finishes, which finished up, with a 2nd-place run over the weekend at All-American Speedway just a couple of weekends, or last weekend, I should say. But he's got to be really proud of the accomplishments, not only of his crew this year, but being one of those innovators like the Bob Brancati's and the Jefferson Pitts people that are finding new young talent that's coming in and meshing them with the veterans like a Ryan Partridge and a Chris Eggleston, and they've done such a good job in building such a great series out there.
Absolutely. Bill will join us here to talk about that in just a little bit. Todd Gilliland winning the championship, Julia Landauer, Chris Eggleston, and Riley Herbst, who continue to improve each week during the course of the season and in his first full year in the series, also part of that Bill McAnally racing team. Doug Coby will join us. This is a kind of I think ever since we started doing Coast to Coast, he's been the Modified Tour champion, and this is 3 in a row for Doug. First time ever on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour that this feat has been accomplished. His 4th title in 5 years.
Yeah, and when you look at the 6 seasons that he has done very well with the team, other than the 4 championships, he had a 2nd and he had a 5th in the final standing. So he's always in the hunt, but clearly has put himself in some prolific names in history with Richie Evans, Jerry Cook, 2 NASCAR Hall of Famers, Mike Stefanik, Tony Hirschman Jr. He's just done incredible stuff, and I don't see that train coming to a halt anytime soon.
Won by just 12 points, a little closer than I think a lot of us would have expected because he had some issues at Thompson, I think. I want to talk to him about that because I saw at one point he was outside of the top 10.
Kind of faded back to like 14th.
Yeah, 14th at one point. Not sure if that was a pit stop cycle or not because I was trying to follow the race while the Sprint Cup race was going on in Kansas.
He had his phone in the car. He was flipping a house. He was busy working. He was doing business. So.
Never stops. But Justin Bonsignore ended up winning the race, the second man in points. And I remember hearing an interview with Justin post-race on Sunday at Thompson. He's like, man, this sucks. I'm celebrating, and then all of a sudden he pulls in, and all the photographers and announcers shift. And, well, we talked to Justin. Now it's time to go talk to the champion.
It's such a shame because this kid is so darn close. That entire team has just been phenomenal all year long. And, I remember it might have been 2 seasons ago in which we were reading Ariel Racing News, which always does a very good preview of the Wheel and Modified Tour, and figured this was the year that the M3 team was probably going to win that championship. It's their turn. That was at least 2 years ago, and they have had such fun. I mean, they got off to a bad start last year, and all they could do was get into the top 10. It just was such a horrific start. But this year, you felt like it was his. It was so close to being his, and Doug Coby is just an impenetrable force. It's just tough.
And was it 2 years ago? I remember we were watching the modified race at New Hampshire, and he was in contention for the championship, and the engine went away. Largest field of the year, and I think he finished last, and that pretty much took him out of the title back in 2014. So Doug will join us here in a little bit to talk about his 3rd consecutive championship on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. And then a new name to the show, and a new name to a lot of folks in the late model world, Mike Looney. Came out of nowhere, has run at Motor Mile Speedway, and has done well. Finished top 5 in points this year. But I don't think anybody was expecting him to go to the Martinsville Speedway this past weekend and, 1, win the pole, and then 2, win the race, and holding off his best friend and fellow competitor Lee Pulliam.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible win. It seems like whenever you go to Martinsville, there is a name or two within that top 5 or top 10 that you don't normally see that's in the mainstream when we're doing our results all during the course of the season at all the Wheel and All-American Series short tracks. And when I saw Mike won, it's like, wow. Yeah. And actually, going back to Motor Mile, I'm thinking, well, we saw Lee there. Philip Morris was there. Mike was there. And I think, and we'll talk to him about it, one of the great things about this is he's one of those guys that is old school. Yep. Pulls up with an outdoor trailer. Doesn't have an enclosed trailer. Pulled up, beat him. And that's pretty cool.
His car owner, 69-year-old Billy Martin, has been trying to just make the race since 1990. 26 years, and they were going, well, Billy's mindset was, I just want to go and make the race.
Yeah.
And obviously Mike's mindset was, well, we're going to go make the race and we're going to win the thing. And that's exactly what happened the other night. So we'll talk to Mike about that and about what it meant to his car owner who's been trying so hard to win at Martinsville, his favorite racetrack. So great race on Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely. Another grandfather clock. Handed out.
That's right. Let's go over some of the results from the weekend. We'll start with the late model race. 42 cars took the green flag. There were 73, 74, I believe, maybe 77 that tried to get in through the qualifying heat races that were held earlier in the day. Mike Looney picked up the win. Lee Pulliam in the 2nd spot, Cress Van Dyke in 3rd, C.E. Falk in 4th, and Austin Thaxton, one of the South Boston regulars, rounding out the top 5. A lot of familiar names, especially in the top 5, but then you look back to the second half of the top 5, some new names mixed in with some familiar faces like national champion Matt Bowling this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And beyond that, a couple of other drivers that we figured that would have better runs. Josh Berry did very well on the Cars Tour this year. He was 29th. Tommy Lemons Jr., the defending champion, all the way back in 33rd position. But, yeah, Annabeth Barnes, one of the female drivers that we've had on the past. Annabeth Barnes Crum, I should say. Married to Jake Crum. But doing very well, and just good to see some names that we haven't seen in a while pop up into the Martinsville running order.
Yeah, Annabeth finishing 1 spot behind Philip Morris, so she had a good run there as well. Has run a part-time schedule this year over at the Hickory Motor Speedway. The NASCAR K&N Pro Series West wrapped up their season. Ryan Partridge, 2nd-place point man, claimed the win, did everything he could to catch Todd Gilliland, but I think all Todd really had to do was start the event, and the championship was his. Partridge held off Chris Eggleston, Julia Landauer, another solid top 3 finish for her. Noah Gregson rounded out a great year in both the East and the West with a 4th-place effort. And Nicole Behar, another top 5. I believe that's her 2nd in the last 2 races for Nicole, who ran just a part-time season. I believe 4 starts for her. Nicole and a couple of the other drivers in the list right now taking part in the D4D Combine this week at New Smyrna Speedway. You take a look at the rest of the top 10, including Todd Gilliland, whose 8th-place finish was enough to claim his first championship by 13 points over Ryan Partridge. Noah Gregson rounded out the year 3rd in the championship standings. Julia Landauer, as you mentioned, a good, strong end of the season for her. I believe she was like 9th or 10th just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Shot up to 4th in points, and Grayson Raz rounded out the top 5 in the series standings. Another competitive year for the K&N drivers on the West Coast.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they're continuing to churn out some very young talent and doing a good job. And Todd Gilliland joins the record books with people like Eric Holmes, Brendan Gaughan, Sean Woodside, some of the drivers that Bill has had behind the wheel of his car, and is one of the few drivers that wins a championship and the rookie title in his same season. Pretty much unheard of.
Championship winning car owner Bill McAnally, as you mentioned a moment ago, will join us after the break here on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
Dale Jr. here. I wear Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans for any occasion. With new styles and great fits, you'll look good and feel comfortable no matter where you are.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans are designed to keep up with you no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you, so you can go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable all day long.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans, the most comfortable jeans you will ever wear. Try on a pair today.
Wrangler, be comfortable.
O'Reilly. A dead battery can leave you stranded, so get yours tested for free during Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Need a replacement? Purchase a Superstart Extreme or Superstart Platinum battery and get up to $25 in O'Reilly gift cards after a mail-in rebate. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Get all the reactions and latest word from the track immediately following each race weekend on MRN's Motorsports Monday with Woody Kane and Joey Meyer.
Johnny Sauter drives the number 21 Chevrolet Silverado.
I didn't know that necessarily we'd been first race of the year.
Log on to MRN.com every Monday at noon Eastern or stream the program from the MRN Media Center on demand. It's MRN Motorsports Monday, only on the Motor Racing Network.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro Series East driver Tyler Dipple, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
All right, thank you very much, Tyler. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, our final show of the season here on the Motor Racing Network. And joining us now,
I'm sorry.
You be all right?
I was trying to hold it back. I'm sorry. I'll be fine.
On the guest line, championship winning car owner Bill McAnally. We've had him on the show several times this season talking about all the victories that his team has been able to put together. I mean, they have been so stout these last couple of years, and the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West with Chris Eggleston last year, with Todd Gilliland this year, and 3 other drivers that we'll talk about here. Bill, welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Congratulations on your 2nd consecutive series championship over in the K&N Pro Series West.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
I believe this is now 7 championships for you as a car owner. That includes 3 when you were partners with Michael Gaughan several years ago.
We had 2 with Brendan, 2000 and 2001, when we were there with Michael.
A lot of success.
So many different drivers have come through. Brendan had 2 titles. We talked about the titles with Eric Holmes, with Sean Woodside. Now Todd. Every one, I'm sure, is unique in its own way. What is unique about this championship with Todd?
Well, it's first and foremost, it's got to be his age. I mean, coming to us at 15 years old, being 16-year-old now, just the composure he has, just the way that David has groomed Todd to be a NASCAR race car driver. You forget he's 16 sometimes, but what an incredible accomplishment for a 16-year-old to come out here and have this opportunity and to capitalize on it.
You mentioned he is so young. How did the relationship come to be? We met Todd, actually, he was on our very first show of the year back in Daytona, came in studio with us with his father, David. How did the relationship between yourself and Todd come to be to go racing this season?
Well, I had competed against, I hate saying this because it sure does make me feel old, but I had competed against his grandfather, Butch, for years, and then David came through the ranks, and as a car owner, I had raced against David, so we had a relationship. We knew of each other, and we'd talked, crossing paths about Todd, and we had the driver expo. We had a combine. We had a lot of interest in drivers wanting us to test and evaluate them last year about this time. So we actually took and put some cars together and brought 11 young drivers together and went through some school classroom setting with them, talking about marketing and social media and how to take care of a sponsor. And then we actually got them out of the track and ran some laps with them. We put a coach with each driver and evaluated them. And Todd really stood out at that, and that's how the relationship got going towards this year.
When you look at the 4 drivers you had, and right off the bat, I think, and I'm sure some people have kind of compared you to being the Rick Hendrick of the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West, because you had 4 different drivers, much like Hendrick or Gibbs or other Cup owners have. But when you break them down, it had to be such a fun season. You're looking at Todd, the young driver down to win a championship, coming from great racing lineage. Chris Eggleston, the defending champion, coming in, sporting the 50th anniversary colors for Napa on the car, which I'm sure was a very proud season. Julia Landauer, so very close to winning her first race and doing such a great job to cap off a season. And then young Riley Herbst, another driver you guys found from that go-to list. How fun was it, or how challenging was it for you as a car owner? I mean, were you bouncing from pit stall to pit stall, or what was an average evening for you in the K&N Pro Series West race?
Well, I'll tell you, it was, we won 8 of the 14 races. It was an amazing year. I can't believe this is the fastest racing. We started in February at New Smyrna, won a K&N East race with Todd there, and just the year just flew by. This has got to be the all-time fastest season I've ever had, and most of that because we were so busy. Having 4 different drivers, and good drivers, competitive drivers, that were always running up front, contending. It was bittersweet a lot of nights, to be honest with you, because they weren't happy if they weren't winning and leading laps, and it's hard to have 4 drivers that can all win and lead laps in any given night.
Let's talk about Julia for a moment. Strong finish to her season, finishing up in 4th in the championship standings. Moving from, I think, 9th or 10th just a couple of months ago in points, it was a huge turnaround for her. She ran, I think her worst finish of the year was 11th. She ran, for the most part, 6th to 10th in the first half of the season, and then suddenly, second half of the year, we're looking at second to 5th place finishes in the last 4 or 5 races. What was the big turnaround for her, do you believe?
A lot of confidence, a lot of team gelling, coming together and believing in each other. We went through a period of time there where there was finger pointing and everybody wasn't happy. But when we got them all together and pulling the rope in the same direction and working as a united team, boy, it was night and day. It's like somebody flipped a switch. Julia learned a lot this year. She progressed immensely. And Julia learned how to be a leader, and she learned how to pull her team together and be a leader of that team. And when that started to happen through emails and phone calls and just the little meetings we'd have at the track, she took a leadership role. And when she did that, it really bonded this team.
At the end of the season, the championship is in hand. The banquet will be coming up here in a couple of months in December here in Charlotte. It's the off season. It's the silly season. You have been well known for recruiting some very good talent, some very young talent, and doing your part, along with the people at Bob Brancati Racing, Jefferson Pitts, and other teams, of really redeveloping this K&N Pro Series West program. Any insight as to where your 4 drivers may wind up, or is it too early in the negotiation process or the discussion process to talk about looking for plans for the 2017 season?
Yeah, we're just still unloading the trailers from our last race, but we've been working. I was on the phone this morning working on details, but talking to Todd Gilliland and his father David. We would like to run for the K&N East and K&N West championship. Our goal this year was to win the West championship, and Todd did an amazing job with that. But we're trying to pull that together. He wants to run a few truck races. And then with Riley and Julia being rookies, they're looking at what they want to do. Chris Eggleston was the senior leader this year. It was great to have him back after his championship in 2015 to help us develop and groom these rookie drivers. He was a huge help. But right now, if I could keep all four of these drivers for next season, it would be a lot of fun, and we would be happy. We've got a young driver, Cole Moore, we've worked with this year that's looking at running the whole season. So it's a little bit early to know exactly what we're doing, but we've got a lot of great things in the works for next year.
A great group of young drivers. Chris Eggleston being I think the oldest of the bunch. He won the championship last year, as you mentioned, 6th in the championship standings this season. Did that surprise you, Bill, that he wasn't up there competing for the title with Todd?
Well, he did for much of the season, but I'll tell you, we had some bad luck. In no part of Chris for any means, but we had some bad luck. If it was just one of those seasons, if it could go, it did. I mean, at Miller, we had a oil line that was kinked. The inside of the oil line was hurting our oil pressure, and we lost a couple motors trying to work through that and figure it out. And that having 2 races in one weekend wasn't a good weekend to have engine problems, that's for sure. But Chris, he won a couple great races this year, and we weren't planning on finishing 6th in points with Chris Eggleston. And there for a while, when him and Todd were competing for the championship and race wins, we thought we had a 2-horse show there for quite a while.
I know we kind of touched on this the last time you were on the show, and you kind of alluded to one of your items, I would say a bucket list item that you want to conquer, and that is an East Championship. With so much that you've done, whether it be through your racing teams, the racetracks that you have, your sponsorships, and so many programs and so many things that you're involved in, aside from an East Championship, and more so looking out to the West, what else is on your bucket list that you would still like to attain in your career?
This is hard to believe, but just being a little more than an hour from our shop, we've yet to win Sonoma. We've led a lot of laps at Sonoma. We've been leading and had flat tires and dropped a valve. And it's like if it could happen, it has to us at Sonoma. But I really want to get a win at Sonoma and drink that wine in Victory Lane. That's on my bucket list. It's so close to home. We have so many fans that go there, and like this year, getting caught up in that green flag disaster when Mayhew had an electrical issue, and it just caught everybody up on the start and just wiped out 2 of our cars before they even got to the green flag. We want to get it done at Sonoma.
Sonoma, one of the big races on the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West. Obviously, they run in conjunction with the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series each June out there in wine country. Sonoma also one of 14 races on the schedule this year. Bill, are you happy with the schedule for the K&N Pro Series West right now? Is 14 a fairly good number?
14 to 16 looks really good. I mean, if I could complain, if I could change something, it would be to get us more national touring tracks on our schedule. Losing Phoenix is just a crime. It's the only track we have on the West Coast. It's a national touring track, oval. It's under the 1 mile, at the 1 mile that NASCAR mandates we need to be with these younger drivers we have in the cars now. And it not having that on the schedule, we go to a lot of great venues in a lot of markets that don't have NASCAR racing. I mean, getting to Denver and Seattle and Spokane up to Salt Lake City, Utah. It's great going into those markets because we're the show. We're the one shot they get for a NASCAR event in their town. But I'll tell you, if we could have more of those national touring tracks on our schedule, it would sure help develop these drivers.
Well, the one thing, one of the many selling points we've always talked about is the youth of the program, whether it be in the East or over on the West as well. But the parity in the program as well. I mean, Bill McAnally Racing had a very successful season with drivers finishing up in the top 10, all 4. Looking at the top 3, you got Bill McAnally, you've got Bob Brancotti, and you've got Jefferson Pitts. You can't ask for much more parity than that. It just is such a great selling tool when you're trying to get to other tracks like this with so much competitive history between just those three teams, not to mention many other teams out there. And I guess my question is, you are a good source of finding the new young talent, whether it's another driver like a Cole Moore that could be joining you. How are things looking on the West, not only for you, but what Bob Brincati's looking for and what Jefferson Pitts is? Is there still a good talent pool that you see, a very flush, fluent talent pool out in the West to choose from?
Yeah, there is. There's so many kids at some of the Northern California and the touring, the modifieds and the late model touring series out here. Even on the East Coast, they don't have to be from the West Coast, but there's guys from the East Coast. I've had the pleasure of working with Brandon McReynolds and now Todd Gilliland. But the West Series is a great development tool for drivers looking to hone their skills in these bigger, heavier cars. And there's plenty of young talent out there, that's for sure. There's never a shortage of that.
And we see a lot of those young drivers at weekly tracks like the Las Vegas Bull Ring and the Irwindale Speedway on a weekly basis that we talk about here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Kern County Raceway, another one of those. Bill, congratulations again on the championship, and best of luck to you during the 2017 season. Look forward to seeing you at the championship banquets here in Charlotte in a couple of months' time.
Well, we appreciate it, guys. Thank you for everything you do in promoting NASCAR Touring Series. We sure appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. Thank you.
We appreciate it as well. Bill McAnally, your championship-winning car owner in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West with Todd Gilliland. Also provided cars for Julia Landauer this year. Chris Eggleston and Riley Herbst all had good showings.
Yeah, what a great season on that program. Just so many good, talented young drivers. And you just can't wait to see what the future holds. Noah Gragson, one of the graduates moving up into the Camping World Truck Series, who gets his spot? And will all these drivers return? You know, what's going to happen, how the pool gets shuffled around a little bit more. No matter what, I think the bottom line is a very good 2017 is on the horizon.
Now, a lot of those West Coast drivers, actually, we mentioned it earlier, that they at the Drive for Diversity Combine going on today at New Smyrna Speedway. We mentioned Nicole Behar, Kaylee Barker from the Las Vegas Bull Ring, Jay Beasley trying to come back into the NASCAR ranks. We haven't talked much about him this season, so hopefully we see some of these young drivers come up through the ranks over the next couple of years. Coming up, a driver at the top of his game right now up north in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. 3 consecutive championships and 4 career championships for Doug Coby. We'll talk about the latest, in which he captured last Sunday at the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park after the break.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Dale Jr. here. I wear Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans for any occasion. With new styles and great fits, you'll look good and feel comfortable no matter where you are.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans are designed to keep up with you no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you, so you can go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable all day long.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans, the most comfortable jeans you will ever wear. Try on a pair today.
Wrangler, be comfortable.
It's all over at Martinsville, Virginia. Richard Petty has pulled it off.
Throwback Thursday, classic MRN race broadcast on MRN.com.
Waltrip will win the track race to turn 3. Earnhardt gets him. Hard into the wall goes Waltrip. Hard goes Earnhardt. Everybody else spins either way.
Out of the number 4 corner down to the line. Neil Bonnet is going to win the Northwestern Bank 400. He'll beat Waltrip a 2-car length.
What a finish here at North Wilkesboro.
Throwback Thursday, Thursdays at 1 Eastern on MRN.com.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro Series East driver Sarah Cornett-Ching, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
All right, thank you very much, Sarah. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. Hoping to talk with Doug Coby in a moment. I think he's might be doing what you said earlier in trying to flip a house.
He is. He's a businessman. Well, you talked about it because It's almost like, he's a hell of a driver.
He is.
He's got a great team.
Yep.
I mean, that's even when
Mariglio and
Todd Zegedy was driving.
Mm-hmm.
I love that team.
Mm-hmm.
I always loved the old Whisk car.
Yeah.
Back in the day, but which wasn't that many years ago. But yeah, you kind of mention it. He's so busy doing his job, and then pretty much gets in the car and wins.
Yeah.
It's almost, and that would frustrate the living heck out of a lot of drivers who put a lot of time and effort into a car before they get into it, and then get into the car and go race, and they still can't whip him. And that's got to be frustrating, but he's got it. He's got it going on.
Yeah, he does. Right now, third consecutive championship. Never been done before in the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour's existence, which began in 1985. Justin Bonsignor picked up the final win of the season, as we mentioned earlier in the show, over Ryan Preece, who had to start the race at the back of the field. Jimmy Blewett, Donnie Leah, and Timmy Solomito, the top 5. Doug Coby finished the race out in the 6th spot, which was good enough to win the championship. Also good runs by Woody Pitkat, Eric Goodale, Matt Swanson, and Dave Sapienza rounding out the top 10 last Sunday. And we will talk with Doug Coby coming up in a little bit, hopefully here on the show. And joining us now, the late model winner from this past Sunday at the Martinsville Speedway, the Valley Star Credit Union 300, the biggest late model race of the year. 70-plus cars entered. And coming out on top, driver Mike Looney. And Mike, welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast. A great weekend for you and your team, owned by Billy Martin. Not only did you win the pole and not have to worry about a qualifying race on Sunday, but you went out and won the event as well. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate y'all having me on. Yeah, it was a storybook weekend for sure. Dream come true, man. Just like a lifetime achievement right there. I've been beside ourselves ever since, and it really hadn't even sunk in yet, to be honest with you.
I'm sure it hasn't. It was an incredible run, and actually had the opportunity to beat one of your best friends in Lee Pulliam, a gentleman that you had to race against pretty much not every week, but when Motor Mile ran, you're running up against the best in the business. So that had to be a great tool for you when you prepared to go to Martinsville Speedway and run against the rest of the best out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's an unbelievable talent. I can't imagine why nobody's picked him up. He should be in the Cup Series. This dude, he's amazing. But racing against good competition just makes you better. And he's been kicking our tail for years now. We work really hard. And finally, I got some equipment, that I can compete with him. And it's been a blast, man. It's been an absolute blast.
Read an article about the event and about your car owner yesterday on Speed51.com, and Billy Martin, longtime car owner in the late model industry, been trying to make the race at Martinsville for 26 years, since 1990. Was the original goal, when you guys decided to go there earlier this year, was the original goal to just make the show? And what was the reaction when you made the show? And not only did you make it, did you win? You won the pole.
Well, yeah, that was Billy's his goal. He never made it, and we got this new car we built dialed in at Motor Mile. Man, it was really, really good. And I knew then, back earlier in the season, God, this car could be the one, And so I'm thinking in the back of my mind, go down there and run for the win. Billy, when he thought maybe, asked me about going, could thought what it take to try to make the show, and I said, no, Billy, we need to get us one of them Ford motors, and we need to get this and get that. I think we could, have a chance at it, which it would just be arrogant to think that we really could go down there and win it. But man, that's just what happened, and I stumble for words every about the fifth interview I've done now, and I still can't believe it. I don't know how to put it in words, man.
Well, and one of the most amazing statistics, and Kyle and I alluded to it when we were talking about your victory at the top of the show, was you're one of the old school drivers. You still come into the pits. You've got that open trailer. And it reminds me of the karting industry. Even in go-kart racing, national karting events, you see some of these huge haulers coming in, and you're thinking there must be a NASCAR driver or late model stock in there. But it's all karting. But there's still these guys that come in there with a cart on the back of a pickup truck, have their toolbox and have a few things, and they go out and they wax them. And it's got to be just a Cinderella story for you guys to have this accomplishment.
Yeah, you can't, the trailer don't win the race, that's for sure. So you got to budget, put the money where it really counts, and that's just what we have to do. I'm sure Billy, if I asked him about it, we could get us a nice trailer, sell something or do something, but that's money that could be spent on engines or chassis parts or tires or, what have you. So we just try to, we ain't really got to prove nothing to nobody when we show up. But, it's nice when the checker flag falls. It's pretty cool. Everybody knows your name. I can't believe the media, man. I feel like I'm some kind of hot shot or something.
Well,
this week. Fame's been glowing, man.
You are this week, and you will be for a while, because they're going to be talking about this one for quite some time, especially those last 10 laps. Bring us through racing with Lee, coming down to the checkered, especially with 7 to go when you guys made contact, and his car actually got on top of yours there for a brief moment off of turn 4.
Oh, it was wild, and it was I knew it was going to get physical, the late models. Well, any race in Martinsville always gets physical. And, roles have been reversed. I'd have done the same thing. He was able to run me down just a little bit on those new tires they give us. And, gosh, I was running scared. Probably overdrove turn 3 just a little bit. And I washed up. I left him a hole. And before the spotter even set inside, I felt the wind come in the window off the nose of his car. I knew he was coming. I just thought to myself, I got to slam the door now. And he was pushing up, and I was cutting down. We got together, and I guess his right front must have jumped my left rear or something, but he got up in the back quarter window and up on the roof, and actually knocked the air hose off the top of my helmet. So he's about to get in my personal space. But I told him guys, if you could have shot me in the leg with a shotgun or something, I was going to keep driving, and I didn't let up. And I just prayed all the way down the front stretch that that left rear tire has some air in it when I get to turn 1, because I ain't letting up.
Well, adrenaline pumping after the race, but I would say pumping even before you guys actually got through the process of qualifying and everything, with the announcement that was made by track president Clay Campbell that the LED lights were going to be installed at the Martinsville Speedway. When that went out on social media, everybody immediately was hoping, and I know I made a post, let's do a modified late model stock doubleheader. But you guys indeed are going to be the race that runs under the LED lights for the first time next year. How impressive was that, and how excited are the drivers as well as yourself to hear that news?
Oh, it's a great honor. Clay, Martinsville's always really the only place that's really taking care of us late model guys. They're treat us just like Sprint Cup Series when we come in. It's pretty cool to go to a place like that and be treated with respect like they do, and to be to go down. There's a lot of history at Martinsville. Everything's pretty well documented, and to be able to go run a race, the first race ever under the lights there, it's going to be one to remember. I'm hope we're able to go next year, and I think I may even have me a provisional for that one since I won this year. So it would be one not to miss. It's going to be a lot of sparks, a lot of glowing rotors. And I'm sure. I think it works out on a full moon Saturday night at Martinsville. Who knows what you might see?
Oh my God! Could you imagine? Oh my! And you mentioned they treat you, the late model drivers, just like the Sprint Cup drivers, and that includes the trophy, one of the coolest trophies in all of motorsports, hands down, the grandfather clock. Where have you positioned it yet? What's the plan for the trophy?
Well, the trophy, we'll give the trophy to my wife, Becky. We were, I guess, high school sweethearts, and it's kind of symbolic of the time, that she sacrificed.
Merry Christmas.
She never got to go to her high school prom because we were racing street stocks at Franklin County Speedway that night. And I mean, she's sacrificed as much as any of us. So the trophy's hers, and she's been moved it around. I'm getting tired of moving stuff. Well, I hope we can get a spot picked out where it'll stay for a while, because that thing's pretty heavy.
Does this put a cap on your 2016 season, or are you looking for anything else this year?
That about puts a cap on a career for a guy like me. We were joking, I'll just quit now. What else am I going to do? That's about as big as it gets for a late model guy. I don't know what we're going to do now. I just sit around and smile a lot, I guess. It's pretty cool to be able to kind of justify all the sacrifices that have been made. We would have been fine even if we didn't win it, but man, it's cool to, it's kind of like payday for all the hard work over the years. And Martinsville, to really appreciate what happened. First, you've got to go down there and fail. You got to go down and fail to make the show, and you struggle, and you come back with a better car next year. You get in, that's great, and then you get crashed. And you come back next, it's just, you've got to fail it year after year. So when you finally do get it, to really put in perspective what it means. And, I've definitely failed my share of times, but we got her now, and it's mine forever. Can't nobody take that away. So it's really special.
They did it, and they did it in a big way on Sunday afternoon, holding off one of the best in the business in the process, and a good friend of yours in Lee Pulliam. Mike, congratulations again on the win. Thanks for taking the time to join us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, and hopefully we'll be seeing you on the racetrack in 2017, and maybe you can go back-to-back at the Martinsville Speedway.
That sounds like a good plan to me, guys. Thank y'all for having me on.
I like it. Mike Looney, great driver in the late model ranks, and a driver that we've mentioned in results this year at the Motor Mile Speedway, finished fifth in points, but finally got that first big win of his career. Good to see this past weekend for Mike at the Martinsville Speedway, and his car owner, Billy Martin, who's been trying to just make the race for 26 years now. When we come back, a driver on a roll himself. 3 NASCAR Wheel and Modified championships in a row, 4 in his career. Doug Coby will join us after the break.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcast elevates your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Keselowski to the bottom of the racetrack. He tries to slide up. Newman is there. Sideways is Keselowski.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Come join us every weekend at America's Tailgate Party, NASCAR USA. Hi, I'm Rob Tanner, your host and master of the grill, as we get you ready for high-octane NASCAR racing with hot laps and hot tracks. We serve up 2 hours of the best hits in country music and keep you up to date with racing news and features you won't find anywhere else. Sit down and have a seat. It's a regular weekend pit stop for country music at the speed of sound, NASCAR USA on the Motor Racing Network.
Dale Jr. here. I wear Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans for any occasion. With new styles and great fits, you'll look good and feel comfortable no matter where you are.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans are designed to keep up with you no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you, so you can go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable all day long.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans, the most comfortable jeans you will ever wear. Try on a pair today.
Wrangler, be comfortable.
This is NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour driver Doug Coby, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
Might as well just introduce himself as well. Thank you very much, Doug. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network, and joining us now on the guest line, and I don't know if that was planned or not. Okay, Craig says no. Doug Coby. Doug, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, and congratulations on yet another Wheel and Modified Tour championship, 3 in a row. It's never been done before.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. I don't think that was me, actually. That didn't sound like me on the intro there. So I think you guys have an imposter pretending to be me.
No, we would never do that.
Hey, dude, what an incredible run this year. And over the last 5 or 6 years, we were talking about the 4 championships in the 6 seasons with Mike Smariglio, and even when there wasn't a title, there's 2 top 5s, a 2nd and a 5th. It has been an absolutely incredible run with this team.
Yeah, I mean, just to clarify, it was the 52 I won the first championship with Wayne Darling and John McKenna, but I know what you mean. It's been 3 in a row since I joined the 2 team with Mike Smariglio and Phil Moran, and what can I say about our team? Just the model of excellence, I guess, and persistence, and always trying to get better despite changing competition. I mean, last year it was Ryan and Woody, and this year it was Justin and Timmy. And it just seems like we've been able to really rise to the occasion whenever we need a good race. We just seem to get one and pull it out, and kept us up front in points. This year was all year. We were the point leader since the 2nd race of the season, so they were gunning for us for sure.
6th place on Sunday at the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. I was trying to follow along as best as I could during our Sprint Cup Series broadcast at the Kansas Speedway, and got concerned at one point during the event when I saw a rundown and you were 14th. Kind of bring us through your day from your driver's seat. I'm not sure if that was just a cycle of pit stops and pit strategy taking place at some point, but at one point, I think Justin was within 1 or 2 points of you where you were in the standings.
Yeah, it got a little bit interesting. I knew we had a good car, so I wasn't really worried. I mean, when we fell back to 14th, it was as a result of a little bit of a hang-up on the pit stop. We had the right rear tire get caught up a little bit, and so they got one lug on, but the rest of the tire was kind of twisted a little bit. So our tire carrier was smart enough to tell the tire changer to pull that lug off and get the tire set on right so that we didn't have any potential problems after that. And so we lost about, I want to say, 4 spots maybe on pit road. And then we came out of the pits. I think we were about 8th or 9th, maybe 7th, I don't know, something like that. And they said that Wade Cole in the 33 was the leader, and that kind of stacked up the field on the restart. The outside lane definitely went. And, nothing against Wade. He's a tremendous asset to our tour, and enjoy speaking with him, and always a pleasant guy, but it just kind of screwed up the restart for us. And we ended up pulling back a little bit, but I'll tell you what, we had such a good car that I just wanted to make sure that after I fell back that I played it smart and didn't panic. And our team has always said that we don't panic when things don't go our way. And this wasn't an opportunity to panic. So, listen, we clawed back up to 6th. I think I probably could have got to 3rd or 4th pretty easily. But I had to ride around and be smart and know who I was racing around. And I knew Justin was likely going to win the race. And pretty much down to the last lap, if I was around the wrong cars and got caught up in an accident and finished 17th, Justin was going to win the championship. So I really played it smart the last 30 laps and brought it home in 6th in one piece and locked up the championship.
And you mentioned earlier in the season is when you took control of this points title. But when you look at it on paper, I mean, 4 championships, 3 in a row, especially this year's championship, not as easy as people may think it was, and I think you'll admit that as well, and go all the way back pretty much to August 10th at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. Pretty much, other than Eric Goodale checking in for a victory at Bristol, it was Justin, Coby, Salamito every weekend of the NASCAR Touring Series for the Modifieds. It never left you a whole lot of breathing room.
Yeah, I couldn't get rid of those guys. I mean, every time we ran good, they were 2nd and 3rd and right with us, and getting almost the same amount of points. So it was close all year, and that's to be expected. I mean, those two teams certainly stepped up their game, and Justin proved 2 years ago that he had what it takes to contend for a championship, and if it weren't for some bad luck, he may have been the 2014 champion. We just kind of focus on ourselves, though, and whatever those guys are going to do, we just try to be one step ahead. And, it's just one of those things where you're always going to have people battling you for a championship. No matter who it is, there's always going to be somebody who's winning races and stringing together a bunch of good finishes. And that was Justin at the end of this season. He was really impressive with his team. And, they didn't miss a beat the last 8 races of the season, and fortunately for us, we didn't really miss a beat either.
Remember when your career really first started to get going at the Stafford Motor Speedway? I met you in a late model at the time, I believe in 1998. You went on to win the Pro Stock Championship a couple of years later, then made the transfer into the Modifieds and have done so well. Have you ever been able to sit back and kind of reflect on your career and what you have done here in the last decade or so in the NASCAR, or half a decade even, in the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour?
I'd say not really, mostly just because I'm always focused on what's next,
Mm-hmm.
and these race seasons just go by so fast. I think you guys probably feel the same thing. Like, as soon as you get to the start of the race season, all of a sudden it's 4th of July, and then as soon as you get to 4th of July, you can pretty much count the race season as being over because it's going to be October before you know it. And, the neat thing about the last 3 or 4 years has been with the championships all coming in a row, it feels like we were just in Charlotte last week at last year's banquet. So to be going back there in a couple months, it's neat just for our team to constantly feel like we're on top and that we're accomplishing some great things. And to answer your question specifically, no, I haven't had a chance to really think about what it means. I'll probably think about it more after it's all over, all said and done. I just like the idea of stringing together a couple of more wins and championships if possible. So it's kind of exciting here to have 1 to 3 in a row. And, we're coming back next year in 2017 to try to win 4 in a row. And when you just get to that point, it's just makes you feel really special. And our whole team feels very appreciative of our sponsors and our fans. And even the people that don't like us anymore, we're still appreciative of them because we know where they're coming from.
Yeah, Kyle doesn't like you. He says he doesn't like you. He says,
I know. He just doesn't like me because I beat him when we go to GoPro.
Wow.
So.
Hey, Doug,
And he
speaking
had
of
900 laps around there.
Yeah.
Speaking of 2017, a lot's going to be changing next year a little bit with the tour. And, of course, we found out pretty much right after we got off the air last week, we saw the announcement by NASCAR that both the Whelen Modified and Southern Modified tours would be merging for the 2017 season. There's some bits and pieces that we've been able to put together, seeing that possibility that Bowman Gray and Caraway wouldn't be a part of the schedule. We may not be in a seat of Monadnock Speedway. A lot of work to be done to get all of this fine-tuned and put together. But as a champion and a gentleman coming from the Northeast, your thoughts on the announcement that was made last week?
Well, I mean, I'm approaching it with open mind, I guess, and I think ultimately having one NASCAR modified series is going to be good for television and good for our fans. Rather than comparing the North versus the South, it's just going to be comparing team versus team. And we're going to get to go to some new tracks, or probably more some old tracks. I hear South Boston is likely a candidate to come back on the schedule. And the modified tour race at South Boston forever, prior to the North-South split. And, I'm excited to get to some new places. We did very well at Oswego. We won, and Seekonk we finished 3rd this year. So we typically seem to do well when we go to new tracks. And ultimately, the way I look at it is if we get more races and they pay better and the championship pays better and we get more cars at the tracks, whether it's northern cars or southern cars, then it's a good decision. My opinion, I'm not going to worry about anything that we haven't heard about yet. So it's certainly an exciting time. And I think Phil Kurz from Whelen Engineering and all the guys and girls at NASCAR who are making these decisions are doing it with the best interest of the modifieds in mind.
And keep in mind, NASCAR hasn't really officially announced anything yet.
Right.
I know a lot of the news was leaked to Sean Corshane at Race Day CT, and he wrote the article up last week to kind of put all of this into motion. One track that we mentioned would not be on the schedule was Bowman Gray Stadium down here in the South. Would you like to run there, Doug? I know it's kind of like the modified staple down here. It'd kind of almost be like not running at Thompson up in the North.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me if we were going to combine North and South tours, we really should go to Bowman Gray. It's on my bucket list of tracks to race at, and without an actual tour date there, I probably won't be able to get down there because we'll be traveling somewhere else to race. So, yeah, as much as I think it would be an interesting experience and probably not the best points night for most of us, I think it would be a really great track for the modifieds to go to and to race in front of all those fans there. I certainly think they'd pack the house if you had a bunch of northern guys coming down to race against the southern drivers who have so many laps around that place. So I'll be really disappointed if they aren't able to work something out to get us there for a tour race. But never say never, just because they might not do it the first year or the second year doesn't mean they won't do it down the road. So certainly would be looking forward to racing there, though, if it was on our schedule.
Other than the bucket list item on the southern side, which is Bowman Gray, with the success that you've had, what's left up in the north that is something that just has missed your grasp that you still want to get a hold of?
Oh, I need to win at Riverhead for sure. We didn't have great luck there this year, but last year we finished 2nd and 3rd in the 2 tour races there, and we've had a great car every time. I was running 2nd in the spring race and got spun around with 2 laps to go and ended up finishing 10th. Which cost us, significantly in the points championship. And then I was running 4th in the fall race and got bounced off the wall and got a flat right front. So it's a tough little track. It's kind of just like the Bowman Gray of the North, and it's on my bucket list to win at for sure, just because it's a track that I've typically not had great luck at. So I definitely want to win there. And, there's always races to win. We haven't really clicked too well with the two team at Waterford. So, Waterford's my favorite short track of all time, and I ran really well there with the 52 in the tour car, but we just haven't had the right setup, I guess, with the two teams. So we're anxiously awaiting maybe hearing that there might be 2 dates on the schedule there next year. So that's exciting news, I hope. And if we can accomplish a win there, that would be special too.
That would be cool to see. Waterford Speedball with 2 events next year as that track continues to grow under new ownership. Congratulations again, Doug, on championship number 4, and I look forward to seeing the 3 consecutive championship stickers around the hotel in Uptown in December.
In the elevator, everywhere
they'll
else.
Be there, and I look forward to putting another whooping on you at GoPro when we go there for the media day. So we'll have a good time there.
Nice.
Anybody needs to come this time too.
Oh, you really want to whip somebody? That would be an embarrassment. You would really clobber me.
I just want to watch. I don't want to whip. I just want to watch you.
Going to be a good time here in the second week of December. Doug Coby joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, now a 4-time NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour champion. Back to wrap things up after the break.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
O'Reilly.
A dead battery can leave you stranded, so get yours tested for free during Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Need a replacement? Purchase a Superstart Extreme or Superstart Platinum battery and get up to $25 in O'Reilly gift cards after a mail-in rebate. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Motor Racing Network, glad to have you aboard for our coverage of practice, something we will be doing all throughout the year.
They are pretty close in practice.
You said you learned a lot in practice.
We can have a good, clean practice.
How many teams are going to opt out of practice?
Get this practice session underway.
As we close out practice.
What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man.
We are talking practice. Sprint Cup Series practice on the Motor Racing Network. Join us all season long on MRN.com and the MRN app.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro Series East driver Colin Cabry, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
All right, thank you very much, Colin. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. He is also down at New Smyrna Speedway participating in the D4D Combine. No, Colin.
You pointed to me.
No, not you.
I know where I'm at, mister. I'm right here.
There were other short tracks that were in action this past weekend. In fact, wrapped up their season mainly on the West Coast. Tucson Speedway in Arizona wrapped things up with Ned Champagne winning the late model feature. Brandon Schilling is this year's track champion in the late models and finished second in that event. Brandon Farrington won in the trucks and is also this year's champion. In fact, their season finale, which will include the super late models and wrapping up their championship, will take place on October 29th. Chuck Ware leads by 4 points over Brandon Schilling.
I bet I have a stumper for you.
Go ahead.
Who won at Kern County Raceway Park this week?
Let's see. Is it not Buddy Shepherd?
Who has won other than Buddy Shepherd, I guess would be the operative question.
Nobody.
11
for 11.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Perfect season.
Beating Christian McGee and Jeff Peterson and takes the 2016 championship. Congratulations.
Also, believe it or not, he got the track title as well. Buddy Shepherd did.
Yeah.
So they wrapped up their season this past week. Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park, part of the World Series of Speedway Racing this past weekend. 18 divisions, 372 race cars, including Ryan Preece, who won the final Sunoco modified event of the season. Keith Rocco finished 5th in the 25-car field, which was good enough to pick up the track championship by 23 points over Preece. That wraps up their short schedule. Understand they're going to have a similar schedule for 2017.
Good. If you're looking for some racing this weekend and you're in the state of North Carolina, basically a couple of tracks. Caraway Speedway has the Kenny Minter Memorial Championship, which has modifieds, limited late models, Chargers, mini stocks, Hornets, Wildcats, and Legends. And Hickory Motor Speedway, they've got their fall brawl this upcoming weekend as well. So a couple of places to go, even though the season is winding down.
I think we got everything. Well, not a whole lot left.
Read it. Peak.
Oh, Peak
Mexico.
Coming back on board. The NASCAR Mexico Series is back for next season. That announcement just coming out here earlier this week. So we look forward to having that series back in 2016. Want to thank Bill McAnally, Doug Coby for joining us as well, along with Mike Looney, for Robbie Mays and Craig Bohr. He's Buddy Long. It's been a great season here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Look forward to doing it next year here on the Motor Racing Network and MRN.com. Thanks for watching, everybody.
This has been NASCAR Coast to Coast with MRN short track experts Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long. Tune in next Wednesday at noon at MRN.com for more talk from NASCAR home tracks and touring series. NASCAR Coast to Coast is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.